Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as you, the viewers, made by donations. If you're enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at NACTV at wcgwave.ca. This week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is dated Friday, July the 8th, 2022. And on the front page, it's Happy Canada Day. The Banner and Press had coverage of a very special day in Canada. As you can see, there's lots of pictures. Welcome back, Canada Day. Neepawa missed you. For the first time since 2019, the town of Neepawa was able to host a full-scale Canada Day celebration. The event, held at Riverbend Park, featured a wide array of family-focused activities such as an exotic animal display, face painting, bubbles, bouncy castles for the kids, and much more. The fun was capped off at dusk with a massive fireworks display. And there's more pictures about it on this page. The town of Neepawa went all out this year with horse-drawn wagon rides, inflatable playgrounds, reptile displays, and of course, fireworks. And while we're on this page, there's a cute little picture of a deer up to his ears in hay. This young buck was standing up and still could barely see over the tall grass in this hayfield in the Lansdowne area. You can see just some little short spikes of antlers starting on him. Carberry Area Arena transforms into roller rink by Kira Patterson. Carberry and Area Recreation has found a way to get skaters to the rink in the summertime, even without ice. Kara Burney, manager of leisure services for the town of Carberry and municipality of North Cyprus Langford, has started up a roller skating program for the season with some financial help from a couple of organizations. To help get this program started, Recreation purchased roller skates for people to rent if they don't have their own. This was made possible with assistance from 2 grants, each for $1,500 from Healthy Together Now and the Carberry and Area Community Foundation. The grants allowed us to purchase 54 pairs of roller skates, all used. We have had some donated by community members on top of that. In total, we now have 65 pairs of skates in sizes youth 11 to adult 12. Bernie added that anyone who has their own roller skates will get a discount for bringing their own to use at the rink. The program will run every weekend throughout the summer. The rink will be open for skating on Saturdays with the plan to have different time slots blocked out for different demographics. This Saturday, however, they will have a public skate open for all ages throughout the afternoon. Bernie began planning for this program only a few weeks after she started at her position with Recreation last November. She noted it was her kids who gave her the idea to look into more summer activities in the community. My children are teens and find our small town to be boring in the summer as they live on the ice in the winter. I did some research and found that Wheelies in Winnipeg was selling off some of their used skates. It all spiraled from there. Not only did they receive funding to purchase the skates, but a local student club also helped them to transform the rink into a retro roller skating arena. We are also thankful to our youth in philanthropy at Carberry Collegiate. They donated $300 for us to buy some lights and a disco ball. The lights haven't arrived yet, but once they do, it will help complete the throwback disco feel of the program. Anyone interested in trying out roller skating is welcome to come by the rink on a Saturday. It is just like public skating. Show up, pay the cost, follow the time slots, and wear a helmet if you are 12 and under or inexperienced. It is cement we are skating on, she stated. To find more information about the schedule and prices, people can look up Carberry Rink on social media for all the details. Great idea. Davidson Street paving scheduled for August. Yahoo! By Casper Werhan. When is Davidson Street getting paved? That's a question that has been floating around Neepawa lately. Denny Sagwe, manager of operations for the town, has provided the answer. He told the Banner and Press that contractor availability was not an issue, as Maple Leaf is tied to their contract from last year and is honoring it. However, Mother Nature has been providing a roadblock. With weather delays, Maple Leaf has been bumped back completely across everything. Their schedule looks like it'll be the end of July to maybe August, unfortunately. So that's when we can expect paving to be done right now. We knew we'd be into July optimistically, but it unfortunately looks like it'll be August. Segway added, the town has a bit of work to do on some drainage improvements for the street too, and we're hoping to get that wrapped up as soon as we get our locates cleared and the material delivered. In the coming weeks, we can expect to get that work started. As part of another one of the town's pavement projects located on Commerce Street, Segway told the Banner and Press that the town is going with a geogrid. For this, a high ambient temperature is required for the product to operate and bond properly. That eliminated our May and June, and rain would have also messed that up anyway. We need that above 30 kind of weather to ensure proper product installation. The price tag for Davidson Street is looking fair, according to Sagway. In his final comments, he shared that it comes in at around $160,000, so it isn't going to be too bad. Sounds like a lot. Now, Norgate History Part 1, Lifetimes of the Village, School and Church, by Casper Werhan. Not all communities stay on the map after being founded. Communities dissolving has been the reality of human history for quite some time. This can happen for a variety of reasons: a lack of tourism, struggling economy, lack or loss of services, etc. The same, it appears, can be said for Norgate. Although the Norgate area will still appear on a map when searched online, the community that once was there, located between Kelwood and McCreary, is all gone. Right now, right down to the Norgate sign. According to the Manitoba Historical Society, most traces of the community were gone by 1971. And in 1985, plans for a cairn to commemorate the little village of bygone days, the pioneers who opened up the district, and the boys who left the community to serve in 2 world wars, especially those who never returned, were set in motion. Reunion services were held July 27th and 28th that same year, and a scroll containing names, newspaper reports, and pictures was placed in a vault, and the cairn was sealed. The intention was that sometime in the future it would be opened by a new generation who would be given insight into the joy, heartache, and determination of the pioneers of Norgate. Although no specific reasoning for the town's disappearance could be gleaned, some of its history has been gathered using the 1978 McCreary Milestones and Memories book, or MMM. As well, special thanks to those who phoned, emailed, and or provided photos. The town of Norgate appears to have been established sometime in 1895. The first school had been built that year, located a half-mile east of where Norgate would later be situated, according to MMM. Norgate itself is recorded as being named such by Malcolm McGilvery, who saw it as the gate to the north. This was due to the mountains located to the west and the swampy land to the east. The aforementioned school was originally known as Montcalm No. 87. And this is a picture of it here. Later, at an unknown time, it was renamed to Camden No. 807. After 25 years of service, the school was replaced by a new building and relocated that year to be used as a storeroom for the school there, and was later sold to Lorne McNarland for use as a granary. The religious people within Norgate didn't always have a church in which to hold services. Worship services were held in private homes until 1913, when services began being held in Camden School. This continued for roughly 7 years until a church was finally built within the community in 1920. And here's a picture of the church. Known as the Union Church, it cost at the time $3,790 to construct. Later, in 1925, it became the United Church of Canada after the union of several churches. The church was closed for 1 year after closing officially on December 31st, 1966. The church was reopened the next year by the Canadian Sunday Mission School, which used it until 1982. The final worship service given at that church was on July the 28th, 1985, during the Norgate Reunion and Cairn Dedication Weekend. In spring of the following year, the building, in poor condition at that time, was given to A. Bolt. Bolt moved it to his farm and had made a neat, orderly shop out of it. The shop still existed at the time the history book was published, but the title of the shop was not provided. It was noted in the history book that the congregation of the church at times had a difficult time covering the cost of the minister's salary, which was $200 annually, plus $25 for horse feed. 1922 was reported as a particularly hard year, the minister being paid with the proceeds of an auction sale. More Norgate history will be published in upcoming editions. And here is a picture of the cairn that was put up within Norgate, where the church used to be, to commemorate the village. And at right, it gives a closer look of the cairn, and it says, "This cairn is dedicated to the memory of the village of Norgate, the church, the school, and in memory of all the pioneers of the district. Also all the boys who left our community to serve in the 2 world wars, and in special memory of the ones who never returned." 1895 to 1971. Wow. Let's see here. Ukrainian Polish display at the Beautiful Plains Museum by Charlotte Regalario. The Beautiful Plains Museum is welcoming guests to our new and improved Ukrainian Polish heritage display, as it shows one of the communities that settled on the prairies. Huns Valley, now commonly known as Polonia, was the first Hungarian settlement in Canada. The movement was known as the Hungarian colonization, but it was made of various nationalities under the Austro-Hungarian rule in Europe. Some of these people were Polish, Ukrainians, Slovaks, and Czechs. Today, there are still many Ukrainian and Polish influence in our town, and it just shows how community and collaboration was deeply valued by our first settlers. Various Ukrainian Polish artifacts can be found in the museum, and many of them contain fascinating stories about their culture and traditions. We also have traditional clothing worn by the new settlers, as well as tools that helped from day to day. One interesting item we have is called oplatek, pronounced opwatek, a thin wafer that the nuns at Polonia would make every Christmas. Made from flour and water and baked in an iron press that had an embossed religious symbol. Before Christmas Eve meal, each family member would offer a piece of their opwatek to other family members, wishing them blessings. Children often tried to break off a larger piece from each other while trying to keep their siblings from taking too much of their opwatek. We have the wafer press used to bake and emboss the opwatek, as well as a replica outdoor oven called pitch that used to bake these goods. My personal favorite in the Ukrainian Polish heritage display are the pictures of the St. Mary's Ukrainian Church that once stood on Mountain Road. As an interior design major, I found it fascinating that they were able to construct such magnificent and symmetrical structure with limited resources. To think that I have lived here in Neepawa for many years and was just introduced to this information when I worked in the museum was exciting for me. Many more interesting histories can be found in the museum, and we invite people to come and visit us this summer to learn all about it. Admissions to the museum are by donation. For large group tour inquiries, contact the museum at 476-3896. Hope to see everyone soon. And here we have pictures. You probably can't see them because they're a bit small, but it's Gladstone's glory years. 1944 classes of Bear Creek School and Palestine schools. The photos featured here were both printed in Chapter 3 of the Gladstone's Glory Years booklet series made back in the day by the Gladstone Age Press. So this is the Bear School class of 1944 taught by Miss Stitt. And this 1944 class for Palatine School was taught by Miss Simpson. Now we have a picture of a grade 8 student that graduated from Brookdale School. Pictured is Brookdale grade 8 student Sean Dennis, who made the graduation speech. So let's read that. The following is Sean Dennis's graduation speech addressing his classmates, teachers, and staff at Brookdale School. As Brookdale School only goes up to grade 8, the students going into high school next year will attend Neepawa Area Collegiate. Over the past 9 years of Brookdale School, the 6 of us have had many, many fun times. We have all developed into exceedingly smart teens who have made more fun memories in a school than many would believe possible. We would also like to thank all of the teachers who have helped us to get where we are today and where we will be in 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, and for the rest of our lives. The Brookdale School teachers have been and will continue to be influential people in our lives. Some of the amazing events that the EAs, teachers, and parent council have planned for us includes, but is not limited to, the following: all the Halloween feasts and festivals, all the Christmas feasts and decorations, all the amazing Christmas concerts that wouldn't be possible without Mrs. Rowe, our sub days, pizza days, hot lunches, curling, skating, pajama days, field trips, virtual and physical, clubs like dance club, craft club, D&D club, chess club, our spirit days, guest reader, science fairs, 100 days, movie nights, tabloid days, poetry cafes, ice cream floats and sundaes, garden boxes, Amazing Race 1, The Amazing Race Brookdale 2, tag in the school, Secret Santa, end of the year game days, band events. I could go on and on about all the amazing events that other schools don't have the chance to do, but we did. Why? Because of Mrs. Christensen, Miss Forsman, Mrs. Rowe, Mrs. Fadak, the EAs, and Miss Gwaziak. Our teachers have made learning fun and easy to understand. Being part of a small school means lots of one-on-one time with the teachers. It has been amazing to have our teachers address us and help us understand a problem and solution individually. I strongly believe that we have an academic advantage in high school because of this one-on-one time. Thank you, Brookdale School and staff. And just one more thank you to my fellow grade 8s. It has been amazing to learn alongside you here in Brookdale. We have had so many fun times together, and I look forward to many more with you in Neepawa. Well, isn't that nice? All right, Mazier reintroduces Internet Accountability Law. So this is a press release from the office of Dan Mazier, MP. After his previous work to amend Canada's Telecommunications Act was halted due to an unexpected summer election, Member of Parliament MP Dan Mazier is once again fighting for Canadians who have felt cheated by the country's internet companies by taking on the telecom industry. Mazier introduced Bill C-288 in the House of Commons, a near copy of the legislation Bill C-299 he tabled in the previous Parliament, which garnered significant national attention and support. If passed, Bill C-288 would require Canadian internet service providers to provide the public with accurate and transparent information regarding the internet quality they can expect during the hours they will use the service. Under current legislation, internet companies advertise maximum theoretical speeds with language such as up to a certain speed. The advertised speeds Canadians expect are often nowhere near what they actually receive. Mazier says that this lack of accurate information results in customers overpaying for services, not purchasing the best fit service, and customer disappointment. Shortly after introducing his legislation in the House of Commons, Mazier held a press conference on Parliament Hill to discuss his bill further and called upon all parties to support the non-partisan legislation. It is no secret that many Canadians purchase internet services at sky-high prices only to realize that the quality and speed they expected to receive is nowhere near what they actually receive, Mazier stated. Rural Canadians in particular feel they are not receiving the internet service they are paying for. Hello. During his press conference, Mazier pointed to similar policy proposals in other countries, including the United States, Australia, and the United Kingdom, citing reports of decreased consumer complaints along with increased service quality and customer satisfaction. If passed, Mazier also expects Bill C-288 to increase overall industry competition by incentivizing internet providers to decrease their oversubscription ratios and improve their equipment quality. Parliament is scheduled to debate this bill in mid-November, with a vote not expected until next year. Until then, Mazier says he will continue to meet with industry stakeholders, Canadian consumers, and members across the political aisle to garner support for his legislation. All Canadians deserve access to accurate and transparent information, and I look forward to advancing this non-partisan legislation in Parliament. Neepawa Middle School students assist Lions with trail cleanup. Submitted by Neepawa Banner and Press. On June 27th and 28th, the Neepawa Middle School Grade 6C class and the Neepawa Lions teamed up in order to participate in a trail cleanup event along the Great Canadian Trail system that runs through Neepawa. A combination of young and old teaming up to accomplish this goal while helping to clean their community. The grade 6 students cleaned up over 5 kilometers of trail in and around their community, leading from the Back 40 Bicycle Park all the way to Lions Riverbend Park. Grade 6C teacher, Mrs. Dudenhofer, said that the students found a lot of mud, washed out sections of trail, and found a lot of garbage, but also had a lot of fun. Members of the Neepawa Lions took on the 6.4 kilometer trail, leaving Neepawa along Highway 5 north through the RM of Rosedale. The grass was really tall and the ticks were bad, but not as bad as the mosquitoes. A great deal of thanks goes to the Rossburn Subdivision Trail Association for sponsoring the event with $100 honorarium for each group. To make this story even better, the grade 6 students decided that rather than using the money for a class party or field trip, that they would rather donate it to the local Salvation Army thrift store, the Neepawa Community Ministry Center, where it could do some good in their community. Additionally, the Neepawa Lions matched this donation in order to sponsor an award for a hardworking graduate from Neepawa Area Collegiate who represented a student who volunteered in their community and their school. The money donated as part of the trail cleanup event has continued to help and support the community and area in doing more good in the world. Next, Health Canada to mandate front of packaging labels ground meat on exempt list by Kira Patterson. The proposed front of packaging, or FOP, labels that Health Canada put forward for discussion have officially been approved. According to a news release from Health Canada announcing the policy on June 30th, manufacturers will have until January 1st, 2026 to make the changes to their packaging. These regulations will require a new symbol to be displayed on the front of packaged foods that are high in saturated fat, sugars, and or sodium. Health Canada says that research has shown that FOP labels will help consumers make healthier choices by letting them know about foods high in so-called nutrients of concern. The new labels are to be part of Health Canada's healthy eating strategy, which they say aims to improve the food environment in Canada, make it easier for Canadians to make informed food choices, and lower the risk of diet-related chronic diseases. Health Minister Jean-Yves Duclos stated, "We want all Canadians to have the information they need to make healthy food choices. In the coming years, the symbol will make it easier for you and your family to make informed choices. This simple yet effective nutrition symbol will promote healthy eating for all Canadians. While manufacturers have until 2026 to implement these regulations, Health Canada has stated that consumers may already start seeing the FOP labels in the near future." The new label regulations will have some exemptions, with whole single ingredient food being the major exception of note. In the original proposal, dairy products like whole and 2% milk, as well as eggs, fresh fruit and vegetables, and whole cuts of meat were stated to be exempt. One glaring oversight, however, was that ground meats would not be among the exemptions, which had beef producers up in arms about the nutritional and economic value of ground meat products. In the approved regulations, ground meats are now listed among the exempt products. Health Canada stated, while these products, unlike whole cuts of meat and poultry, have a nutrition facts table, they are of similar nutritional value as whole cuts. Requiring a symbol on ground meats and poultry and not on whole cuts of meat may lead people in Canada to erroneously believe that all whole cuts are healthier than ground. The Canadian Cattlemen's Association CCA, released a statement shortly after Health Canada's announcement of the FOP labels stating their approval of the revised regulations. We are pleased that the Government of Canada listened to our sector's concerns and reversed the policy proposal on ground beef and pork, nutrient-dense, affordable proteins. Thank you to all beef and pork producers and consumers across the country for raising the issue with elected representatives, the CCA statement read. CCA President Reg Schellenberg added, Canadian families rely on ground beef as a nutritious and affordable food staple and an important contributor to food security. We are pleased with Health Canada's decision to omit ground beef from requiring a misleading warning label. And another graduation picture. This one is from Carberry, the graduating class of 2022 at Carberry Collegiate. A fair time at Carberry. Although the pun in our headline is sure to make readers groan, amusement was likely abundant when this little fire truck zipped by at Carberry. The driver and car were representing the town's volunteer fire department in the parade for the Carberry Fair, which was held July 1st to 3rd. A draft horse show was also part of the festivities and provided great entertainment to all. Pictured below here is one of the draft horse show participants, and his horse, head held high, and proudly struts their stuff in the ring. Carberry RCMP investigate fatal two-vehicle collision. Submitted by RCMP Media Release. Carberry RCMP are investigating a fatal car crash into a semi-truck that claimed the lives of two Glenborough South Cyprus residents. RCMP say officers responded to a call at 10 to 8 p.m. on July 4th. The victims, a 91-year-old male, and the passenger, an 86-year-old female, were driving south on Highway 5. Officers say the pair came into an intersection and crashed into the semi-truck and trailer. Both were pronounced dead on the scene, while the driver of the semi sustained minor injuries. Carberry RCMP, along with a forensic collision reconstructionist, are continuing to investigate. Royals defeat Pirates by Gladwin Scott. Carberry Royals downed Plumas Pirates 15-11 Tuesday, June 28th in Santa Clara Baseball League action. The game was played in Neepawa due to wet grounds in Plumas. Zane McConnell, Corey Billert, and Russell Adrianson shared the Carberry duty on the mound, while Riley McBride, Ryland Single, and Payson Morcantine pitched for Plumas. Zach Yando doubled, singled, and scored 3 times for the Pirates, who tallied 5 runs in the 5th. Russell Adrianson led the Royals' attack with 4 runs, while Josh McMillan doubled, singled, and scored 3 times. Keenan McLaren and Warren Birch each recorded a pair of runs. Carberry had a big 10-run 4th. Ebb and Flow Lakers have forfeited several games and have dropped from further league play. In Santa Clara League playoffs, 4th and 5th place teams will meet, and then the top 4 squads will compete, 2nd versus 3rd, and 1st against 4th or 5th. And speaking of ebb and flow, here is an article about the Santa Clara League by Owen Devereaux. There has been a major and sudden change to the Santa Clara Baseball League as the Ebb and Flow Lakers have shut down for the season. The reason being cited for this is that the team has not been able to consistently field a full roster this year. That has forced several postponements and forfeits of games throughout the season. This ultimately led to the decision to have the club cease operation for the remainder of 2022. Santa Clara reps are hopeful that Ebb and Flow will be able to reorganize and return to the league next year. As for what it means for the rest of the league, all games featuring the Lakers have been removed from the standings. The playoff implications, meanwhile, are as follows. The 4th and 5th place teams in the league standings will play a best-of-3 play-in series. Games have been scheduled for July 8th, 11th, and the 13th if necessary. The 5th-placed Austin A's are guaranteed to be a part of the play-in. Their opponent will be the loser of a game played on Wednesday, July 6th between the Portage Padres and the Plumas Pirates. The final results of that game were not known until after the Banner and Press publication deadline. The winner of the play-in series will advance to the playoffs and take on the top-seeded team in the semifinals. And here we have a couple of pictures from an event in Westman Junior Golf. Hayden Delaloy of Neepawa, this is Hayden, and along with Spence Mott of Brandon, recently won an event on a Westman Junior Golf Tour stop in Brandon. The pair teamed up in a Westman Junior Golf 2-player scramble tournament held at the Wheat City Golf Course on Thursday, June the 30th. The best ball event saw the Delaloy/Mott team shoot an impressive 59, a 12 under for the par 71 course. The pairing had previously won the 2-player scramble back in 2020. They had also just missed out on top spot last year, ultimately losing in a 5-hole playoff. Recapturing the trophy in 2022 serves as a little bit of redemption for the duo. Congratulations on their impressive outing in Brandon. And this is a picture of Hayden Delaloy shooting the ball. Whack. Neepawa Tourism supports Margaret Lawrence Home. Pam Brown and Darren Cameron of Neepawa Tourism presented Margaret Lawrence Home board member Blair Chapman with $690.10 from the proceeds of tourism's recent antiques market. And here we have travelers from Belgium passing through Neepawa. World travelers from Brussels, Belgium were halfway through their second cross-country tour of Canada when they passed through Neepawa. The couple shipped their RV from Antwerp, Belgium, and it arrived in Halifax 10 days later. They and their faithful dog flew over and are enjoying our fair country. This is their second visit to Canada. Their original plans were for a trip to the eastern part of Europe and into Asia. However, conflicts and COVID-19 variants made them reconsider. They love Canada, and when asked about fuel prices, they simply laughed and shrugged their shoulders. With a wave, they were on their way. The mystery license plate published in last week's edition of the paper was from this couple's RV. The Banner and Press received 2 correct guesses from Florence Carter and Michael Bonnet. Congratulations. Other guesses included Australia and Germany. And McCreary School also had a graduation held on Saturday, June the 25th. This year, 12 graduates received a provincial diploma. Turtle River School Division Award, valued at $100, is presented to a graduate who has achieved an academic average of 80% or higher. Highest overall average in a grade 12 course. Each award is valued at $100. Our appreciation goes out to the many local businesses and organizations that have graciously donated towards the awards ceremony this year. Here we have a picture of some members of the Neepawa Banner and Press who were recognized at an awards ceremony. The Neepawa Banner Press was recently recognized for some of its local news coverage. In late June, the Manitoba Community Neepawa Association announced its winners for their annual awards. The Banner and Press received second place recognition for its editorial page and its photo essay coverage of the 2020 flood. John Luigi Pito, John Drinkwater, and Aaron Devereaux were also acknowledged for the photo essay. Devereaux also received third place for the best education story for his coverage of the opening of the Neepawa Middle School. The Steinbach Carillon won Best Newspaper for 2021. The MCNA represents 32 member community newspapers across the province. Okay, so I'll go back. Oh boy. All right, I was going to finish Constructive Criticism, Part 3 by Neil Stroshine. For the 2 weeks prior to Canada Day, I offered suggestions for ways we can share constructive criticism with those who are in authority over us, whether in community, government, church, or work. 2 principles were emphasized in those columns. First, we are to respect those in authority because of the positions they hold, even though we may not agree with how they conduct themselves in their relations with others. Second, we are to base our criticism on things they say to do and avoid at all costs the temptation to make assumptions about their attitudes or intentions. Today, I want to address the third and most important question. What standard of right and wrong do we use when evaluating the actions of our leaders? We can choose from several options, but the standard we choose must clearly define acceptable right and unacceptable wrong actions. It must also be a standard that applies to all people equally. We cannot have one set of standards for the rich and powerful and another for the poor and powerless. We have every right to expect those in positions of authority to set a good example by obeying the same laws they set for the rest of us. So when they fail to live up to the standards they set for us, we don't have to put up with it. We have the right to speak up, to expose this inappropriate behavior, and to ask for it to end. Nor should we feel under any obligation to believe or accept the excuses they give for their actions. They probably wouldn't accept our excuses, so we do not have to accept theirs. What we seek is an apology that reflects clear understanding of what has been done, a promise that it will not happen again, and a visible change in the offender's attitude and actions. We should settle for nothing less. Then we have every right to expect our leaders to honestly answer questions they are asked. We don't expect them to give instant, factually accurate answers to every question. It's okay to say, I don't know, but I will find out and get back to you. That's answering honestly. We have every right to expect transparent honesty from our leaders, and they have every right to expect the same from us. Finally, we have every right to expect that they will keep the promises they make. An old saying puts it best, a promise made is a debt unpaid. In the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon wrote that it is better now to vow, make a promise, than to vow and not pay. Then he adds these words, do not let your mouth lead you into sin. Those words apply to all of us, not just to our leaders. Making promises is easy. Keeping them takes time, talent, and money, sometimes far more than we initially thought. But when we give others our word, they trust us to keep it. They make future plans and investments based on the promises we make. If we fail to keep those promises, they pay the price, and we are to blame for their misfortune. That's why people find it so hard to trust those in authority. After generations of broken promises, what would you expect? It's time for us to wake up, admit that we are partly to blame for this lack of trust, and take steps to repair the damage before it's too late. Now, Homebodies by Rita Friesen. This week it is called Musings. As I sit at my office desk, once again accompanied by the sound of steady rain, random thoughts skitter and scatter. The rain, this rain, enough already, says the farmer and gardener. Enough already, says the homeowner and vacationer. Simply saying enough doesn't change the rain. Truth, nothing we can do or say can change the rain. So I don boots and rain jacket and hoist an umbrella to foray forth. It is discouraging and disheartening. My earliest years we lived in the Cane District. Wonderful, fertile Red River soil, gumbo at its best. The area was marked by drainage ditches, essential in just level terrain. Between the farm on which we lived and the village was one such ditch. The crossing was a concrete drive, allowing travel even when there was a measure of water in the drain ditch. This is an early memory, and I have precious few of those. We as a family went to visit my mother's sister who lived in the settlement, a collection of homes between the farm and the village. I have no idea how long we had been housebound, but it must have been long enough. Our mode of travel was the 8N Ford, Dad driving, Mum perched on one of the fenders, and my sister and I standing on the hitch. Obviously, Dad was not torquing down the mud road, and today we would be horrified to see a child not safely tied on a piece of equipment. Times were different. I have no idea how long we visited Aunt Liddy and Uncle Dave, and no recall of the ride back home. That snippet of a scene is clear and vivid. Those ditches and drains that drew the water east to the Red were notable. The water from the fields flowed into the drains through those culverts with flaps opening under the pressure of the accumulated water on the fields. Family stories from the 40s and 50s reveal that the pacifist community in which we lived had exceptions. If any farmer thought his field being clear of water was more important than another farmer's, hot words ensued. An extreme incident apparently led to a push and a shove, which sent one man into the swirling water, resurfacing on the other side of the culvert. To be fair, they were large culverts. Not certain whether a church elder meeting was called or not. In a dry year, a forecast calling for a 50% chance of rain doesn't mean a thing and brings no hope. In a wet year, a 15% chance of rain is a guarantee, and that we will have more than a drizzle. At this point in my life, I am a small-time gardener. My rain barrels are full. I seldom need to water anything, but the hanging baskets, one raised bed actually became sodden. And so my heart aches for all our farming families all over this province. I have been there when the stakes were not as high as they are today. It was the wet years and the dry years that often precipitated the farm wife working away from home. Ah, my mood is as gray as the skies. May the sun shine soon on all of us. All right, so the last article I'm going to read is by our editor, Ken Waddell, called Right in the Center, Where Have We Gone Astray? This disclaimer says the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the Banner and press staff. The following quote from Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney speaks volumes about how bad things can get on so many levels. Following a shooting that injured 2 police officers near a 4th of July event on Monday night, Kenney told a group of reporters that only police officers should be allowed to own guns and that he is looking forward to retiring so he no longer has to deal with gun violence. He said, "I'll be happy when I'm not the mayor." Philadelphia is not alone in violence. Chicago is much worse, but before we get too smug, let's understand that Canada Day and days previous in our own province yielded some hideous violence. 2 very recent Ukrainian immigrants were stabbed at the Forks in Winnipeg. The murder level in Winnipeg is on track to break records. Across the province, there are deaths attributed to drug abuse. We are in no position to be smug in Manitoba. Along with the rest of North America, we have a problem. Philadelphia's Mayor Kenney wants out. He deserves some empathy, but his solution is not the correct one. Suggesting that only police have guns is simplistic and unworkable. Gun restrictions are nothing more than a flimsy grasp at a quick fix. If only the police have guns, then the only people who have guns will be the police and the bad guys, because only the good guys will obey the gun laws anyway. The bad guys sure won't, never have, and never will. Many mayors across North America are suggesting that police forces be defunded. That police forces may need to be shifted or redeployed is a discussion that is badly needed. To suggest that we need to take money away from policing is ridiculous. Police forces can't cover all they are called upon to do now, even in relatively peaceful rural Manitoba. Therein lies one root of the problem. When cities adopt a tolerance to petty crime, police learn they can get away with bigger and bigger crimes. It becomes a big sinkhole until people wake up one morning and realize that their community is being strangled by crime. Residents need to take pride in their communities and let it be known that littering, broken windows, and vandalism leads to theft, drugs, and violence. There are some politicians in the States pandering to various groups by saying the police should be defunded. The twisted logic suggests that if the police aren't around, then the groups who feel picked on won't get picked on. There is a lot more to that story. Yes, sometimes groups are profiled or picked upon, and that's just plain wrong. It should not happen. However, some groups would not get picked on as much if they always obeyed the law. These aren't foolproof solutions, but would go a long way towards more peaceful communities. Mayor Kenney says he will be happy when he is no longer mayor. I can see why. Mayors get worn down and burnt out because they and previous councils let their towns go downhill instead of being proactive. That principle applies to everything from roads to crime to water lines. Neglect breeds more neglect, and that leads to devastating results. We don't need less services, we need more and smarter services. In every aspect of local government, more can be done, needs to be done, and should be done. As a former mayor of Neepawa, I can sympathize with any mayor who feels pressured. Most mayors didn't have to put up with a lot of violence, but some do, and that must be a horrible experience. That said, mayors, councillors, and the general public must come up with logical and reachable solutions to every problem that comes along. Defunding the police has been suggested, so has closing jails. There are even those who want outright anarchy. We just have to study history for a few moments to understand that when a community strays away from the rule of law and good government, trouble isn't far behind. Much of the discussion around the need for a country to have capital punishment could be avoided if corporal punishment is enacted when appropriate in one's early life. Parents need to understand if you aren't the boss when they are knee-high, you certainly won't be when they are eye to eye. In many of the mass shooting cases, there is often a significant failure to heed the warning signs in an individual's life. Boundaries and consequences need to be in place prior to a fatal incident. There needs to be a foundation, a bedrock that we can build on. That foundation can be found in the words of Jesus in the Bible in Matthew 22, the New King James Version. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him and saying, "Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law?" Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." All laws and law enforcement needs to be based on these words. Anything that goes against these words is destined for failure. And so with that closes today's reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press. So thank you very much for joining us. Hope to see you next time. So bye for now.